In this webinar, we're going to be looking at work-related stress and how to let go of it. That might sound far too ambitious, but I hope that you'll find that as we go through the webinar today, you will see how this is a possibility in your life. So let's start. Letting go of work-related stress. I think this is a goal for many of us, if not all. Stress comes to us from so many different directions, and work is definitely one of them. But first of all, let's think about why you should listen to me. What right have I got to be talking about this? Well, I have a diploma in personal performance coaching, and my main focus in my coaching is supporting people either getting into or coping with being at work, and in some cases leaving work. These are the three areas which I think go together to form work-related stress. I spent 30 years in a large IT company, and for much of that time I was coaching and mentoring either as part of my job or as a supplement to my job. I established my company 18 years ago to deliver coaching and personal skills education of the sort of standard that I was able to deliver while I was working. And yes, I too have been where you may be now. I had 3 months off work a few years ago from work-related stress. The frustration, the workload, it all got on top of me and I couldn't carry on. So I know what it's like to suffer from work-related stress, and I hope that I can pass on some of the thinking that I've developed since then so that you don't have to go through what I did. So there's a lot of stress about, as we know, some quite terrifying statistics. 27% of employees are not working at their best as a result of stress. That is a terrible figure. 24% of workers say their work-related stress is high or unsustainable. These are things which dramatically reduce the effectiveness of us at work. Work-related stress levels have risen by 20% over the last few years. So things are getting worse, not better. So what can we do about it? What can we do? So what we're going to look at is, what is stress? What are the effects of stress in our lives? What can we do about it? And what would be our next step? And the message here, as is always the message, is get some help, get some coaching, because coaching can help you find a way through the stress that you're facing. It can help you to find new things to do that avoid stress. So that's what we'll be talking about at the end. So first of all, what is stress? Well, a couple of definitions. All my quotes are from academic peer-reviewed literature, so I hope that you'll find them compelling and convincing. The psychological and physical state that results when the resources of the individual are not sufficient to cope with the demands and the pressures of the situation. That's an overall definition of stress. Workplace stress can be defined as the change in one's physical or mental state in response to workplaces that propose a challenge. So the resources are not sufficient to cope, and therefore we have a change in our physical or mental state. So these are how we might recognize stress already. Is stress always bad? Well, not always. Stress is positive when it forces us to adapt and increase the strength of our adaptation mechanism, warns us we're not coping well, and that we need to change our lives. Hey, this is where coaching comes in straight away. This action-enhancing stress gives the athlete the competitive edge. An athlete thrives on stress. They love the pressure that drives them on. Not all of us are the same as athletes, but if we recognize there is a need to change, then that stress has done its job. We're looking at stress which is harmful to ourselves and potentially to others. We certainly don't want that, and which encourages to take some action. So today's about action. Stress can be the result of other things. Stress doesn't just appear on its own. It can be to do with how we're made up, our genetic vulnerability, the way we try to cope, our personality. Some people just cope better with stress than others. I mentioned athletes as an example. But when we think about work-related stress and we think about being in work, then it could be the environment. It could be negative workload. We not have enough to work to do. Isolation, not working with other people, working at home, long hours, that sort of thing. Type of hours worked. It might be long hours. It might be hours in a split shift. It might be hours working at night. It could be the conflict in our role that doesn't match what we're like. Ambiguity in our role, which means that we don't quite know what we're meant to be doing. That can be very stressful. Lack of autonomy. We don't get the ability to just go and do the right thing because we've worked it out for ourselves. We're told to do something. We might not agree with the way that we're told, and so on. Career development barriers. Yes, we just can't progress in the way that we want to. We might see other people progressing and we're not, and we think, well, they're not as good as me. And so we get stressed through that. Difficult relationships, perhaps the root cause of so many things, either with our managers or with our co-workers, our colleagues. We just struggle to get on with them. Managerial bullying. Yes, well, we've got whistleblowing laws, but that doesn't always allow us to raise issues that we have with bullying. Harassment, organizational climate. I can tell you that working in a company which is slowly declining is not a good place to be, and it can generate stress. I would widen the scope of work-related stress to incorporate not just being in work, but getting into and getting out of work. If we look at those two things as well, I think that the levels of stress that we're seeing in work-related areas along the whole work journey, if you like, are much higher than the published figures. So getting into work, the things that people have to think about, choosing their career to start with. Is their CV up to date? What about their LinkedIn profile? How are they doing their searches? What are they searching for? Application forms can be hugely stressful. Cover letters, again, are we getting it right? Is it as good as we possibly can make it? Online tests. If you've never done an online test, then you won't understand what the young people today are going through in order to get a job. These are hugely difficult often and can take many forms, including day in the life of sort of working environment tests, where you have to do a range of video answers, email answers. There's a range of things that people are expected to do just to get through to an interview, let alone to get a job. And then we have video interviews, different to a face-to-face interview, and can be very stressful because the answers are timed. These things are stressful as you build up to them and stressful as you perform them. Assessment centers, you're thrown in with a group of people you've never met before, and you have to work as part of a team. The stress levels in those can be quite significant. Partner interviews, you got right through to the end, you still haven't got a job. You could be asked any question in the world by a partner, and you have to prepare effectively for that sort of interview. These are highly stressful. Before we get into work itself, and we think about the things that we just saw on the previous slide, then we think about job loss and fear of job loss. And then we think about, for example, where we're working. Is it the right place? Do we feel comfortable where we're working? And fear of job loss is a hugely stressful issue. And then we think about leaving work. Have I got good references? Will my reputation be damaged by leaving? Am I leaving too soon, too late? What about the gossip that I'm leaving behind or may follow me as I need to get into work again? These things can be equally stressful. So I think it's fair to say that along the whole journey of work, there's stress. Getting into work, in work, leaving work. The figures that we see relate to being in work. They don't think about getting into work. They don't think about leaving work. These are also equally important. So, what are the health effects of stress? All sorts of things. How you feel. You get anxious, you get depressed, you get tired, you get irritable. You may also get apathetic and bored. You just can't focus anymore. You can't deliver anymore. You may lack concentration. Your memory might go. Stress can make you less creative. Can also make you hypersensitive to criticism. You know what it's like when you're stressed and you snap when people make the mildest criticism of you. It changes the way you behave. You have more accidents. You make more mistakes. You might struggle to sleep. You might take various types of drugs. You might start to suffer from problematic social behavior. You might withdraw. You might withdraw from your friends and family. You might get too aggressive, which has the opposite problem. And also there's the way your body feels, the sweat, the nausea, the aches, the pains, the infections. You may even get ulcers and skin complaints, cardiac problems. Your heart might struggle. But it's worse than that. Potentially it's worse than that, because studies have identified a potential link between stress and the development of tumors, and also a suppression of white blood cells, which actually kill secondary tumors. So there's a significant danger from getting too stressed. So what can we do? We can reduce our take-up of various types of drugs. Caffeine and alcohol specifically are indicated as things which, if you reduce your intake, you may feel less stressed. You can get more sleep. Sleep helps you to relax and therefore feel less stressed. Exercise has been demonstrated as a way to reduce stress. Make lists and manage your time. Easy thing to say, but if at the beginning of a day you make a list of all the things you have to do, and then you tick them off as you go through them, you start to feel more satisfied, more in control, and therefore less stressed. Spending time with friends if you can, and perhaps family, can help you to reduce stress, takes your mind off it. Listening to music. Music changes your brain waves while you're thinking about them. It produces gentler, less stressful feelings. Other types of relaxation. You might think about Reiki. You might think about yoga. You might think about Pilates. There are other techniques that can help with relaxation. None of this detracts from the potential need to go and see your doctor. If this is a serious problem and you are really suffering from the effects of stress, then you need to go and get some professional support, a professional therapist, a professional psychiatrist if necessary, to address your stress levels. Because if you've got to that point, you really do need some assistance from medical people. So please don't think that anything I'm saying will remove the need to go and see somebody professionally if you get to that point. And then there's coaching. Coaching can do two things. It can help you to perform despite the stress. So you have to produce a CV. Let's coach you through the process of creating a CV. Let's give you ideas. Let's give you tips. Let's do some mentoring as well as coaching. So some guidance, some experience that says, yes, this is likely to work. No, that's not likely to work. Take the stress out of creating a CV. The stress of a relationship at work. Let's understand what it's all about. Let's coach you through reducing the stress of a bad relationship. So where do we think the problem is? What could we do about it? What are the steps that we need to go through Do we need to take them for a coffee? Do we need to meet them outside work? Do we need to get to know them through other means? Do we need to see life from their perspective? Do we need to understand the pressures on them? These are things which can open people's eyes, perhaps open your eyes, to say, hey, it might not all be them. There might be things that they're going through that we need to be aware of. So coaching can help you to identify steps to address the environment that you're in. So help you to perform despite the stress. But there's more than that. Coaching can help you to do more. Sunrise Consulting's motto is aspire, assess, attain. We inspire you to see where you want to be. We help you to identify where you are, and we support you to achieve your transformation. What would you like the situation to be? What's your situation now? Identify ways you could move forward step by step, and committing to do just one thing that will make a difference, and repeat step by step by step, logically and in control. Take those steps towards a greater goal. It might be a goal of a new job. It might be a goal of achieving multiple interviews. It might be a goal of getting out of work and into new work. But step by step, coaching can help you to transform yourself rather than just put up with where you are at the moment. So please come to Sunrise Consulting. Let us help you to aspire, assess, and attain your goals. Coaching to let go of stress. That's what we're talking about. Let go of your stress. Look elsewhere. Move forward. Don't feel stuck. Let's move forward. Let's let go of work-related stress. So that's what I'm talking about. Personal performance coaching, an in-depth focus on you and your goals, one-to-one, face-to-face, or via Skype, WeChat, phone, Zoom, who knows, whatever works for you, we can work together. Coaching agreement in place, yes. There are responsibilities on both sides. I cannot guarantee that you will be successful, because success is as a result of what you do. But if you do the things that you commit to do, then that will lead you to success. Let us help you to move beyond what is to what you would like it to be. There's my contact details. Get in touch. Come to me. Let us work together. Let us make a real difference together. So here I am, back again. Please do come to me. Do see what we can do together. Let's make a difference in your life, and let's start now. Thank you.